The gold wasn't supposed to do that. 80 tons of gold on a routine run from Mars to the outer colonies. The ESS Bullion -3 had made this trip 27 times without incident.
Captain, I am reading multiple gravitational shadows closing fast. They just dropped their stealth screens.
The tactical display erupted with red icons. A Drothi raiding fleet, 23 ships, dropping out of quantum skip in a killbox formation.
Sound general quarters. Seal the cargo bay. Arm the point defense grid. They want the gold? They'll have to come in and take it.
She hit the ship-wide broadcast. The voice of Margaret Lynn never cracked under pressure. It was the one thing her crew counted on. The pirate shuttle detached from the lead cruiser, a scarred, reptilian assault boat. Boarding claws locked onto the Bullion -3's aft hull with a shriek that echoed through the decks.
Hull breach, deck 4. Boarding party inside the ship. They're through the aft airlock.
All hands, repel boarders. Arm yourselves. Nothing leaves that bay. Nothing.
The Bullion -3 was not a warship. 12 crew against 50 Drothi pirates. The math was as cold as the void. The corridor bulkheads shook as the pirates cut through, a shriek of molten metal. Crew members grabbed sidearms and took cover behind cargo crates.
Hold the aft corridor. Chen, take 3 and bottle them at Junction 4.
They've breached the inner blast door. Deck 3. Defensive line is falling back.
Red energy bolts crisscrossed the passage. Drothi pirates in exosuits surged forward, heedless of losses.
Fall back to the bridge. Now, make them earn every meter.
Chen fired until his pistol was empty. A plasma blast caught him square in the chest, throwing him against the bulkhead.
Seize the bridge. I want the captain alive.
You are making a mistake, pirate. There's nothing on this ship worth your lives.
You think you can scare a Drothi with empty threats? Show us the cargo bay. Now.
The bridge fell silent, except for the hum of dying systems. Lin was marched toward the cargo bay at gunpoint. Lin keyed in the override with a trembling finger. The cargo bay doors hissed apart, revealing the darkness beyond. The hold was a cathedral of wealth, stacked from floor to gantry. Gold bars reflected the overhead floods in a sea of yellow brilliance.
800 metric tons. Enough to buy a fleet, a planet, a throne.
Pirates swarmed past Lin, snatching bars from the stacks, their harsh laughter echoing off the bulkheads.
Don't touch those. You have no idea what you are dealing with.
Spare us the hysterics. You'd say anything to save your cargo. Cut one open. Let's see how pure Earth's gold really is.
A crewman fired up a cutting laser. Sparks burst as the beam bit into the bar's surface, slicing a clean, white-hot line. The cut widened, and from within, a thread of blue light winked into existence. Cold, unnatural, wrong.
What trick is this? A dye marker? Some kind of tracer?
That's not a marker. Put it down. Put it down before you kill us all.
The blue light shimmered. The pirates, transfixed by the glow, didn't notice Lin slip free of her restraints. She found the pod bay access ladder. The hatch opened with a soft hiss as she keyed in her executive override. Lin climbed into the cramped pod and slapped the launch override. The canopy sealed with a pneumatic thud.
Forgive me. Forgive me, all of you.
The pod detached from the Bullion -3 with a violent jolt, thrusters firing a burst of white flame. It sped away, a tiny speck against the vast starfield, the Treasury ship shrinking behind it. Inside, Lin strapped herself into the harness, her face bathed in the amber glow of the emergency displays. Through the cargo bay viewports, the blue light flickered, growing brighter, angrier. The pirates were cutting more bars now.
They don't know what they're triggering. They don't know.
The Bullion AV-3 was doomed, and she could do nothing but watch. The pirates worked faster now, cutting bar after bar. Each slice released more of that cold blue light until the cargo bay shimmered like a frozen sea. A low thrum vibrated through the deck plates, a sound like a vast engine spinning up where no engine should be.
Ignore it. Keep cutting. We strip this ship before Earth sends reinforcements.
A bolt of static discharge arced from a split ingot to the nearest pirate. The Drothi spasmed and dropped, smoke curling from his exosuit. The glow spread, jumping from bar to bar like a chain of lightning. The pirates froze, their greed finally overruled by instinct.
What is this cursed metal? This isn't gold. It's a trap.
It's too late. They've breached too many. The cascade has already begun.
The thrum became a shriek. Gold bars split apart, revealing cores of pure, blinding energy.
Get back to the ship. Abandon the cargo.
Through the pod's viewport, Lin watched the bullion -3 begin to glow from within, a caged star waking up. One bar split with a silent flare of blue-white annihilation. The pirate holding it ceased to exist.
Just a booby trap. Sealed bars, nothing more. Keep cutting.
But the blue fire jumped from bar to bar, ignoring his command. A chain reaction that fed on itself.
That wasn't a booby trap. That was a containment loop collapsing, and there are thousands more.
The pirates broke. They dropped their cutting tools and scrambled for the exits, trampling one another to escape the rising light.
Stand your ground. We hold the bay. We've come too far.
A second ingot detonated in a plume of plasma, sending Drothi bodies flying like broken dolls. Scar Vor stumbled back, shielding his eyes.
This isn't a trap. This is what did the human call it? A weapon?
From the pod, Lin saw the cargo bay flash white. She closed her eyes and counted the seconds. The bullion -3's hull glowed like a lantern now, seams of light cracking through its armor. There was no stopping it. The cargo bay bulkheads buckled. Girders snapped like dry bones as the hull tore open, venting debris and corpses into the void.
All ships, emergency withdrawal. Cut the docking clamps. Full burn. We've sprung a trap.
Lin's pod thrusters flared, pushing her farther from the bullion -3. She didn't look back. She just kept pressing the acceleration dial. The pirate shuttle uncoupled, with a screech of torn metal, its engines firing red. Behind it, the bullion -3 boiled with white fire. Energy tendrils lashed out from the breach, snagging smaller raiders as they tried to flee, dragging them back into the maw of light.
This isn't a warship, it's a weapon. All ships aboard. Aboard now.
Lin punched in a course correction, aiming for the edge of the system. The pod's small screen showed a cascade of radiation alerts. The bullion -3 broke apart. 3, 4, then a dozen shards of glowing wreckage, each one a secondary sun igniting.
200 kilometers. Is that enough? Please let it be enough.
The pod shuddered as a shockwave of energy slammed into its hull, spinning it hard. Warning lights screamed in the tiny cabin. What the pirates didn't know, could never know, was that each gold bar wasn't just currency. It was Earth's strategic antimatter reserve. Inside each hollow ingot, a microscopic containment loop held a sliver of pure antimatter, safe as long as the gold remained intact. Gold was chosen for its density, its inertness, a perfect Faraday cage. But cut that cage, even once, and the loops failed.
They cut 1,000 bars, 1,000 containment loops. Enough antimatter to crack a moon.
The cascade reached critical mass. The bullion -3's hull dissolved into pure light, the energy spike blinding every sensor within 1,000,000 kilometers. For a microsecond, a new star bloomed in the void, a star born of human paranoia and Drothi greed. The pirate fleet didn't vaporize, it simply stopped existing. Ships, debris, the Drothi Confederation's flagship, all erased.
This is why the Treasury ship had no weapons. It never needed any. The cargo was the weapon.
Lin braced against the pod's frame, eyes shut as the universe screamed white. The shockwave hit. What came next would be seen across 14 light years, a silent funeral pyre for the Drothi Pirate Confederation. In a microsecond burst, the bullion -3 and the entire Drothi fleet were erased from existence. The shockwave hit Lin's pod a heartbeat later, a wall of pure force that snapped her head against the restraint.
The bar. I still have the bar.
She fumbled for the bar, her fingers curling around the cold metal as the pod spun wildly. Then darkness, the pod-vented atmosphere from a hairline crack, emergency lights flickering out. Lynn slumped in her harness, unconscious, the single gold ingot still clutched against her chest. The bar pulsed faintly, a slow, steady blue. The last intact containment loop in the system. For 7 weeks, the pod drifted, a speck in the wreckage of a dead fleet. No transmissions, no sign of life. Just the silent bar and the woman who refused to let go. Earth would later call it a tragedy. But first, they had to notice the flash. Deep space listening post Theta picked up the flash first. A spike on every spectrum, radiation, gravitics, tachyons. The signature matched one thing: antimatter annihilation. And the scale was beyond anything in the records. Within the hour, Earth Command convened a priority alpha meeting. The holographic table displayed a single event, Bullion -3, gone. Admiral Vance leaned over the readout. The Bullion -3's last telemetry, followed by a multi-teraton burst. Then silence. An aide whispered, "The Drothi Pirate Confederation is gone. We're reading 0 activity across their entire relay network." Vance closed the file. "The strategic antimatter reserve has been compromised. No one outside this room can know the truth." The cover story formed quickly. A tragic pirate raid. Earth would mourn its lost crew and quietly celebrate a hidden victory. A press officer was summoned. "Prepare a statement. ESS Bullion -3 lost with all hands to a Drothi attack. No survivors. Earth would publicly mourn 12 dead. Privately, they'd mark the Drothi Confederation as deleted from history." The search for wreckage began, not to rescue, but to ensure nothing remained that could expose the weapon hidden in the gold. The public broadcast went live 12 hours after the flash. A somber press officer read the prepared statement before a sea of recording drones. The ESS Bullion -3, carrying Earth's quarterly gold reserves, was attacked without warning by the Drothi Pirate Confederation. All hands lost. Condolences poured in from colonies and allied species. The galaxy mourned the loss of 12 brave souls in a senseless act of piracy. But in the sealed silence of Earth Command, the truth played on a different channel. Strategic antimatter reserve, compromised. Drothi Confederation, annihilated. Admiral Vance received the confirmation with a single nod. The weapon had worked perfectly. The pirates had been deleted from history, just as intended. Publicly, the search continued for any survivors, though no one expected to find any. Privately, they'd already drawn up the memorial plans. The cover story would hold. Gold lost, ship destroyed. No one would ever ask about the antimatter inside. No one would even imagine it. But in the wreckage field, a faint signal blinked. A damaged escape pod, its distress beacon barely functioning. Earth's sensors dismissed it as debris. Earth Command logged the search as complete. No survivors. No recoverable gold. Case closed. The galaxy moved on, mourning its dead. But in the darkness between stars, the truth was still alive. 7 weeks later, a deep space salvage rig caught a ghost signal. An emergency beacon blinking weakly among the debris. The pod was scorched, tumbling. But inside, a life sign monitor flickered. One heartbeat, impossibly slow. They cut the hatch. A woman slumped in the harness, her skin gray, her lips cracked. In her arms, she clutched a single gold bar. The medic pressed a scanner to her neck. She's alive. Barely. Dehydration, radiation exposure, but she's fighting. The bar glowed with a faint, steady blue. The medic froze, staring at the unnatural light. "What is that? Some kind of trophy?" another crewman asked. No one had an answer. They carefully pried her fingers from the ingot and carried her to the ship's medbay. The bar pulsed on the gurney beside her, as if alive. The ship's captain sent a priority message. One survivor recovered from Bullion -3 incident. Request immediate medical and security protocol. Back on Earth, the alert lit up Admiral Vance's screen. A survivor with an intact ingot. That's impossible. The secret they had buried was still breathing, and it was coming home. In a sterile Earth medical facility, Captain Margaret Lynn opened her eyes. The fluorescent lights stung after 7 weeks of darkness. The first thing she saw was the gold bar on a table beside her bed, its blue heart pulsing steadily.
Why?
2 days later, Earth intelligence officers came. Plain suits, blank faces, offering a deal. A full pension, a quiet house, medical care for life. In exchange, she would sign a silence agreement about the bullion -3, forever.
You want me to forget my crew, the sound of their last breaths.
The lead officer said softly, "We want you to forget the weapon, Captain. The official story will stand." The gold bar pulsed as if alive, listening to the negotiation.
Fine, but the ingot stays with me. Consider it a pension bonus.
They nodded. Margaret Lynn retired that week, walking away with a single gold bar and a secret that should have burned in the fire. The years softened her edges, but never dulled the memory of the bullion -3. She took the house on the hill, far from the press, far from the questions. The gold bar found its place on the mantle, a curious ornament among family photos. No visitor ever guessed its true nature, but when the lights went out, the bar came alive. A steady pulse of blue filled the room, a silent metronome of her guilt.
Every night it watches me, a piece of the past that refuses to die.
She never spoke of it, not to the neighbors, not to her distant relatives. Earth's official history had sealed the tragedy.
They think it's a war relic, a souvenir from a pirate attack. If they knew.
The faces of David Chen and the others visited her in dreams, their last moments replayed in the blue glow.
I carry them with me, in the only way I am allowed.
She grew old, her hair white, her steps slow. The bar remained unchanged, its containment loop as fresh as the day it was forged. Then one afternoon, her son brought his boy to visit. Andrew was 7. With eyes that saw everything. Andrew wandered into the living room and stopped dead. The gold bar on the mantel seemed to pull his gaze like a magnet. Lynn watched from her chair, her teacup frozen halfway to her lips. She had never seen anyone look at the bar quite like that.
Grandma, why does your gold bar glow when the lights are off?
It's just a trick of the light, sweetheart. Old metal, you know.
No, I saw it last night from the hallway. It was blue, like the toy glow sticks.
The bar pulsed once, as if it had heard the boy. A soft thrum vibrated through the room.
He's too sharp. He can't know. No one can. Andrew, why don't we go outside and see the garden? The roses are blooming.
She's scared of the gold. But why would anyone be scared of money?
The question hung in the air, unanswered. Lynn knew this moment would come. She just hadn't expected it to be today.
But Grandma, if it's just old metal, why does it glow blue? Did something happen to it?
Lynn's mind reeled back to the cargo bay, the shriek of the cutting laser, the first blue thread of light. She saw David Chen fall, the pirates laughing, the gold bars splitting apart like angry stars, the taste of fear as she punched the launch override. The sound of her crew dying. She felt the shockwave again. The bar clutched to her chest as the universe turned white.
Grandma, you went all quiet. Are you okay? Did I say something wrong?
Lynn blinked, the present rushing back. The boy was still there, waiting.
I am fine, sweetheart. Just remembering something that happened a long time ago.
The bar pulsed once, slow, as if it understood. She had not lied. She had not told the truth. The secret held. Lynn straightened, forcing her breathing to slow. The boy deserved something, not the truth, but enough to keep him safe.
Andrew, come here. There's something you need to understand.
The boy stepped closer, his eyes wide. The air in the room felt charged. The bar's hum, a quiet warning.
This gold is dangerous. It's not a souvenir. It's a weapon. If anyone ever finds out what it truly is, bad things could happen.
A weapon? Like in the Holovids?
Worse. And that's why you must promise me, swear to me, Andrew, that you will never tell anyone about this. Not a single soul.
I promise, Grandma. I won't tell.
Good boy. That's my brave boy.
The gold bar pulsed once, a slow, steady throb, as if acknowledging the pact. For the first time in decades, Margaret Lynn had not carried the burden alone. That night, Andrew couldn't sleep. He crept back to the living room, drawn by the blue glow that seemed to call to him. The bar pulsed like a heartbeat, brighter than he remembered. It filled the room with cold light, chasing away the shadows.
Grandma said it's dangerous, but she also said it's a weapon. What kind of weapon glows like that?
He reached out and touched the metal. It was warm, alive, and the pulse deepened under his fingers. Lynn's voice cut through the dark. Andrew. She stood in the doorway, her silhouette framed by the hall light.
I am sorry, Grandma. I just wanted to see it again.
She didn't raise her voice. She walked over and eased herself down beside him on the old rug.
It's all right. I used to sit here too, years ago, just watching it.
The bar's glow softened, casting their faces in quiet blue. No more secrets, only shared silence. For the first time, Andrew understood that some burdens weren't meant to be carried alone. The next morning, Andrew sat at the breakfast table, his gaze shifting to the mantel where the bar rested in its simple stand.
He couldn't stop thinking about it. The warmth, the pulse. Grandma said it was a weapon, but what does it actually destroy? Grandma, what does the gold bar actually do? If it's a weapon, what does it destroy?
Lynn set down her teacup. The question hung in the air, simple and sharp, but the answer would unravel a world. She walked to the mantel and placed a hand on the cool metal. The bar responded with a slow, deep pulse.
Don't tell anyone, sweetheart.
Her voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of a buried fleet and a vanished pirate confederation.
He knew then that this was the only answer he would ever get. And strangely, it was enough.
The gold bar gleamed in the morning light, its secret safe for another generation. Andrew nodded. The pact was sealed. The invisible legacy passed from one generation to the next. The galaxy never learned the truth about the Bullion -3. The cover story became history, a tragic footnote in the log of piracy. But in a quiet house on a green hill, the truth pulsed softly on a mantle, one gold bar still breathing. It was a weapon designed to look like wealth, a lie that had erased an entire pirate confederation. Earth's treasury ships still fly, each ingot a silent sentinel. The pirates learned the hard way. Humanity's money is not to be stolen, a weapon hidden in plain sight, a treasure that fights back. The perfect trap. The galaxy keeps its secrets, but this one burned bright enough to be seen from 14 light years away. No one questions money, and that is why the strategy works. Gold is trusted, gold is coveted, and therefore, gold is the perfect delivery system. The antimatter reserves continue to circulate, disguised as quarterly bullion shipments, hidden behind the most trusted symbol in human history. And in a quiet house, an old woman watches the same bar pulse, the same rhythm, her secret alive in the dark. The weapon hidden in the gold. A lesson written in fire, remembered only by two. The years folded. Andrew grew from a curious boy into a quiet young man, and the house on the hill never changed. The gold bar was still on the mantel, its pulse the same steady rhythm. It had outlasted time, and it would outlast them both.
I understand now, Grandma. The weight you carried. The thing you couldn't say.
Lynn sat in her chair. Older than old, her eyes closed, but the peace on her face said more than words ever could. Andrew knelt beside her and took her hand. No words passed between them, but the silence was enough. The bar pulsed once, slow and deep, as if recognizing the moment. A promise passed from the old to the young.
One day, I'll have to carry it alone. But not today.
He squeezed her hand, then turned back to the bar. The watch would never end, but the burden was no longer a secret. It was a trust. The room dimmed, the blue light casting their shadows on the wall. A woman, a boy, and the weapon that would outlive them both. The secret was safe. For now, and for the next generation. The bar still rested on the mantel, its blue pulse the only light in the dark room. It never stopped. The chair beside it had been empty for a while now, but the bar kept watching, quiet and eternal. From outside the window, the modest house on the hill held its secret. A faint blue glow leaked through the curtains. Earth spins on, unaware of the arsenal floating in its vaults, unaware that every treasury ship is a sleeping giant. Somewhere in the void, a gold bar drifts, cracked and glowing, a reminder to any who would covet humanity's wealth. They took the wrong thing, and the galaxy, in its infinite blackness, learned a simple lesson. Earth does not need warships to protect its treasury. The treasury is the warship because nobody questions money. And that is why the weapon will always be hidden in plain sight. Earth's treasury is always full and always armed.